Good afternoon, and welcome to the 10 Big Steps to Prevent Falls webinar. My name is Tia Gully, and I'm a program administrator for the Ohio Department of Aging, and I'd like to thank you for joining us and for using Falls Prevention Awareness Week to learn more about how you can reduce your risk of falls as well as the risk of falls for your older loved ones. 10 Big Steps to Prevent Falls is a collaboration between the Ohio Department of Aging, Steady You Ohio Initiative, and the Ohio Department of Health's Older Adult Falls Prevention Coalition. These webinars are being made possible with contributions from the Holmes County General Health District, Ohio Northern University, and the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center and Select Home Care. I hope you were able to join us for yesterday's webinar where we covered big steps number 5 and number 6 and learned more about how we can make our homes fall-free zones. If you missed it, it was recorded and has been added to the SteadyU website along with the PowerPoints that were used for the presentation as well, so be sure to check that out. Today's webinar is being presented by Carmen Clutter from the Ohio Department of Aging, where she serves as the Population Health and Nutrition Manager. She will be talking to you about how to eat well to help you to prevent falls. So throughout the presentation, we encourage you to use the question box to ask any questions that you may have, and we'll stop periodically to allow Carmen to answer those. And at the end of the presentation, if there are any additional questions, we'll also have time to field those then. So please join me in welcoming Carmen Clutter. Carmen?
Thank you, Tia, and thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. I am pleased to have the opportunity to talk with you all about eating well to prevent falls. So before we get started today, I do want to take just a few moments to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about my professional background. So again, my name is Carmen Clutter, and I am a registered dietitian nutritionist, and I'm licensed to practice here in the state of Ohio. I am an OSU grad, and I completed both of my Bachelor's of Science in Human Nutrition and my Master's of Science in Clinical Nutrition at OSU. And I have been a registered dietitian for almost 8 years now, and I have spent the majority of my professional career working within the community nutrition and nutrition education space. So currently, as Tia mentioned, I serve as the Population Health and Nutrition Manager at the Ohio Department of Aging. And in this role, I oversee the statewide administration of some of our Older Americans Act-funded programs, which include nutrition services. So you may be familiar with home-delivered meals, or what we tend to call Meals on Wheels, and also our congregate meal programs. I also help to oversee our team focused on disease prevention and health promotion programs, and the National Family Caregiver Support Program. I also help to serve as statewide administrator for the Ohio Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program. So perhaps for many of you on the call today, you are familiar with some of those great programs that we have out here across the state to better serve and meet the needs that you have within your life and within your space. So during Falls Awareness Prevention Week, I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to talk with you all today about eating well to prevent falls. So, eating healthy really begins with you. Giving your body the right nutrients and maintaining a healthy body weight can keep you well and can help you prevent falls. So during my presentation today, I hope to provide you with a little information you can use to perhaps plan a diet that you enjoy, but also one that keeps you really healthy. Next slide, please. So it's normal and expected for nutrition needs to change as we age. It's all a part of aging. And as your nutrition needs change as you age, it's even more important that you focus on eating well and you do your best to incorporate healthy foods into your meals and into your snacks. During the aging process, your body goes through many changes, and you may even need to take more active steps to perhaps adjust your lifestyle for healthy aging, and that may include you making the decision to change some things that you eat and perhaps increase the level of activity that you have day to day or perhaps throughout the week. For many people, we tend to become less active as we age. And this is normal and it's common. As our metabolism slows, in your metabolism, that's the process of your body using the food you eat for energy. So as your metabolism slows, so does your energy requirements. And by energy requirements, that kind of means the amount of calories your body needs to have energy and to maintain normal daily functions. For many older adults, they do not need to eat as many calories as they once did before. And we know through research that as we age, our bodies tend to not absorb and use nutrients as well as we once did. Again, this is all a normal part of the aging process. However, because of that, nutrient requirements, especially for older adults above the age of 70, actually increase. So there are some nutrients that are even more important as we age. And then chronic conditions like diabetes or hypertension, also known as high blood pressure, and certain medications you may take can actually affect your nutrition requirements. For example, some medicines may have food interactions, or they could even change your body's ability to absorb some nutrients. So it's always really, really important to talk with your healthcare provider, your pharmacist, or a member of your healthcare team about the medicines you take and how they could impact or perhaps shift your nutrition needs. Next slide. So as you age, healthy eating makes a really big difference in your health. It can improve how you feel and can also support an overall sense of well-being. There are some nutrients that are even more important as you age, and eating healthy has many benefits for older adults. So eating healthy provides calories and nutrients your body needs to function well. And we're going to go into this in a little bit more detail here later, but some of these important nutrients include calcium, vitamin D, and fiber. So in a moment, we're going to look a little bit closer at those and learn even more about their role in maintaining overall health. So eating healthy, coupled with routine exercise, perhaps that's walking, dancing, gardening, can help you lose weight or even just maintain your current weight. And being at a healthy body weight is beneficial for your health and also helps to really lower your risk of developing chronic conditions and certain types of cancers. Additionally, eating healthy can also help to lower or reduce your risk of developing a chronic disease, such as high blood pressure or heart disease. And if you do currently have a chronic condition, we know that eating well can help manage your disease. For some folks, that's without any medicine, and for other people, that's including medicine and dietary changes to maintain overall well-being. Healthy eating can also enhance your energy level. So think of it as the food that you eat is the fuel for your body. So it's important to fuel your body with foods that are going to provide a steady stream of energy. And for most, that's those healthy foods that we're going to talk about a little bit today. And then before we move on, I would be remiss if I did not mention that eating well helps to prevent falls for all of the reasons that we just went over above. So next, we're going to look closely at each of those benefits that you see on your screen right now, and we'll talk a little bit about what they have to offer and the role that they play in falls prevention. Next slide, please. So the quality of your diet, that's kind of the balance of unhealthy foods versus healthy food, plays a really big role in the your overall health conditions, such as your bone health and your eye health. So it's so important to make sure that your diet includes these important nutrients, including protein, calcium, vitamin D, our B vitamins, and then fiber. So protein is a nutrient that plays a really important role in the health of older adults, and is even more so important as we age. And protein is found really in every single cell in your body. It supports good health, good immunity, and helps to maintain muscle function. It's important that you do try to get the right amount of protein each day, and too little protein can actually cause malnutrition or muscle loss, which can increase your risk for falls. Calcium and vitamin D actually work together to help keep your bones healthy, and again, they have a really important role to play in muscle function, all which is super important to help keep you stable on your feet. And then we have a group of vitamins known as the B vitamins, Those include vitamin B6, vitamin B12, and these are all, again, really important as you age. For example, low levels of vitamin B12 are actually linked to an increased risk of bone fracture, which could easily result in falls and perhaps lead to loss of independence. Vitamin B12 deficiency, which means that there's a low level of vitamin B12 in your body, perhaps because you're not eating sufficient sources of vitamin B12, or perhaps there's a chronic condition that causes deficiency. But it can also cause neurological changes, confusion, and even unintentional weight loss. So weight loss that you're not trying to lose weight, but you're seeing yourself lose weight. And all of that can really alter your mobility and the stability that you have on your feet. And then the last important nutrient is fiber. And fiber promotes healthy digestion, and then when coupled with plenty of fluids, can help prevent constipation. And fiber plays a really important role in reducing the risk of different types of chronic conditions, including cancer. So decreased risk of chronic conditions can also decrease your risk of falls. So you can see here that a lot of these important nutrients have a really big part in maintaining a healthy diet to keep you more steady on your feet. And then next, as we kind of already discussed, that your body changes as you age, and that's completely normal. For many older adults, you're not as active as you once were, and because of this, your body doesn't need as many calories. Over time, if we continue to eat and drink more calories from either food or beverages than what our body uses, we may begin to see those extra calories result in weight gain. We know that extra weight can lead to overweight or obesity, which does increase risk for chronic conditions such as diabetes and heart disease, certain types of cancer, and even Alzheimer's disease or other related dementias. So weight gain could actually affect your mobility, making it a little bit more challenging to move or require you to change the way you are used to moving around your home. And it can impact the things that you once enjoyed doing. On the other hand, being underweight can be of concern too, especially for many older adults. Being underweight can increase your risk for weakness and for bone loss, which both greatly affect your stability and again could result in falls. In addition, being underweight may have resulted from not eating enough calories, which can put you again at risk for poor health and could even impact your balance. Same thing goes with not drinking enough fluid. Being dehydrated can also increase your risk of having some balance concerns. Next slide, please. So, what we've talked about is that your diet really does impact your health. So it is really important to look at your diet and see what changes you can make to improve your health. A healthy diet can influence your risk of chronic disease, or for those who have current chronic diseases, it can help to maintain your current chronic disease by slowing disease progression, or perhaps even reducing the symptoms that you experience from your disease. Older adults with chronic conditions are at a higher risk for falls. So if you're able to better control or even prevent chronic conditions, you by chance are at risk or at a reduced risk of falls. Next slide. So now that we've kind of jumped into the value of eating healthy, I want to share with you some strategies and tips that you can hopefully use at home and use in your everyday life to enhance your diet in your own home. But before we do that, Tia, maybe I'll pause and see if there's any questions for any content that I've already covered.
There's no questions here yet, Carmen.
Wonderful. Thanks, Tia. We'll go ahead and we will just move right on. So what you're seeing on your screen right now is an example that I'm going to talk through with you today. It's called the My Plate. Hopefully it's familiar to you, and if it's not, you're going to learn all about it now. So as you get older, your body begins to need fewer calories. So we've talked about that already. But on the flip side, you need just as many nutrients, if not more. So it is really important as we age to really look at our diets and see where we can make perhaps some changes. So you're going to want to focus on eating nutrition-rich foods. So these are foods that are packed with nutrients such as and minerals, but they're not too high in calories and they're not too high in fat. So your goal will be to really focus on eating healthy. And that first starts by evaluating what's on your plate. So this My Plate graphic kind of helps to provide a visual of what a healthy plate should look like. So it's important to create a healthy plate and understand what a healthy plate looks like, perhaps even evaluating what your own meals look like. You might remember or even be more familiar with the concept of the food pyramid. But the USDA fairly recently unveiled a simpler way to help you see what you should eat each day. And this is the My Plate, which you're seeing on your screen. So this simple graphic really shows how the 5 food groups, your fruits, your vegetables, your grains, protein, and dairy, should kind of stack up on your plate. So these are all of the kind of building blocks for a healthy diet. So your aim would be for your plate to very simply kind of mirror this model. See if you can try to get all 5 food groups included in your next meal. Like, how creative can you be? By no means does your plate have to look exactly like this. It just is a visual representation of what you should try to aim for. Of course, your snacks might look a little bit different than your meals, and we'll talk about that here briefly too. So for the second part, it's really important to also vary your food. You want to make sure that you're eating a variety of foods to get all of the nutrients your body needs. Your plate essentially should kind of look like a rainbow. It should be bright with different color foods. Always try to think of eating with your eyes, making your plate visually appealing with the most colors as possible. One of the most important tips I tell people, which I tend to think is maybe the easiest thing to follow, is to try to make your plate colorful. Choose different foods. How many colors can you get on your plate? The thought behind this is that by choosing different colored foods, you tend to eat a diet that includes more variety of nutrients and vitamins. Many foods, like our fruits, our vegetables, and our grains, are the colors that they are because of the different types of nutrients in them. So a healthy meal should include a lean protein, perhaps lean meat or seafood, eggs or beans. A healthy meal should include fruits and vegetables. Try to get those really vibrant, rich colors in. Fruits and vegetables can be fresh, they can be canned, they can be frozen. They can be whole, they can be chopped up, and they can also be pureed. So there's a lot of different ways to implement and to integrate produce into your meals. And then we know that a healthy meal should also include whole grains. So a whole grain is whole wheat pasta, whole grain bread, brown rice, oatmeal. Choosing sources of low-fat dairy, so no fat or low-fat milk, or perhaps an alternative to like a cow's milk. And then remember to try to always choose foods that are high in fiber and hopefully lower in sodium, or what we call salt. And then the third point for focusing on healthy eating is really to follow recommended serving sizes to help control your portions. And some of this is just becoming much more aware of what you're eating and the amount of food you're eating. So to maintain your weight, we really need to focus on eating the right amount of food for our age and body. So getting in the habit of looking at nutrition food labels to learn more about the proper portion sizes. You can even visit choosemyplate.gov to learn a little bit more about an eating pattern that's most appropriate for you based on your gender, your age, and your activity level. I always tell folks to focus on filling up first on your fruits and your vegetables. Make sure that you are truly hungry before you go back for that second serving. Oftentimes there's kind of a gap in time from our brain speaking to our stomach to tell us that you're full. So slow down. If you're eating with others, engage in conversation, and then assess if you really need a second portion. And then one of the kind of last points when we're talking about focusing on healthy eating is staying hydrated. So water is just an important nutrient as anything. Don't let yourself get dehydrated. If you're not really big on drinking tons of fluid all at once, perhaps try to drink small amounts of fluid throughout the day. Water is always your best choice. And then if there's other drinks, other beverages you want to enjoy, try to choose fluids that are lower in sugar, lower in kind of any salts, And again, remember that water is always going to be that first choice for you, your best choice to maintain enough fluid throughout your day. Try to drink at least 8 cups of fluid each day, unless your doctor or perhaps your pharmacist tells you otherwise. There are some reasons why you may not, you might be more of a fluid restriction, or your doctor may tell you to kind of hold back on some of the fluid. But for most of us, the best way to stay hydrated is drinking 8 cups, and each cup is 8 fluid ounces of fluid each day. And that does vary from one person to the next. Next slide, please. So eating healthy can be easy. It seems, sometimes it can seem really, really overwhelming, but it's all about making smart choices to improve your overall health. And oftentimes I tell people to really focus on the meal you're eating now or the meal you intend to eat next. If you're not in the habit of planning out your meals or really thinking through what you're eating and how it affects your overall health, starting small, focusing on the next meal or the meal tomorrow may not seem as overwhelming. So if you have not previously focused on your diet, now is a really great time. And again, practice makes perfect. So it's just kind of getting in that mindset, figuring out what healthy foods you enjoy, what you're comfortable preparing, what you know how to cook. And you can even take, those comfort foods that you will like and kind of tweak them or add perhaps more veggies to the meal to make it something that's both flavorful, something you enjoy, but also healthy as well. So it can take some time to adjust or transition your diet into a better balanced plan. But remember, a balanced diet can also include treats. It can include snacks you enjoy. You just really want to focus on making the majority of foods you eat at home healthy. So, rest assured you can still have that big bowl of ice cream that you like, but perhaps think about adding more veggies to your dinner beforehand. So just a few quick tips to get you started for eating well. Again, focus on your color. Make your meals and your snacks as colorful as possible to ensure that you're including more nutrients into your diet. If you struggle with decreased appetite or perhaps you fill up fast, try to eat 5 to 6 meals a day rather than those 3 large meals. It's very common as we age that our appetite does decrease. So to ensure that you're getting enough nutrients, to ensure you're getting enough calories, you may have to switch to more smaller meals just more often throughout the day. So while these meals may be small, it serves as a purpose to make sure you're getting all of that great nutrition that you need each day. And then it's common for your taste to change as you age too. So try perhaps playing around with different herbs, different spices when you start to prepare your meals. We really want to try our best to limit or to stay away from adding additional salt to our foods. So try to season your foods with fresh herbs to add more flavor. Dry herbs work just as well and can kind of give a different taste to your food. And there's plenty of also low salt or no salt options too. And then again, we talked about staying properly hydrated. So try your best to always choose water first. Think water first for thirst. 100% fruit juice, vegetable juice, and unsweetened coffee and teas are also okay to drink. We just really want to try to limit any sugar sweetened beverages, for example, like soda pop or kind of like a Kool-Aid variety where we're adding a lot of sugar to the drink. Those types of beverages do not typically provide your body with great nutrients aside just from calories. And then some foods and drinks have many calories, but there are a few kind of nutrients your body needs. So added sugars, added fat, and added salt, a lot of these exist in more of our packaged food or pre-prepared foods, and they tend to have a lot of calories but don't often provide a healthy amount of nutrients. So do your best to try to limit these foods if you can, perhaps only consume them occasionally. Or if there's certain foods that you do like that you know are high in fat, high in sugar, or high in salt, see what you can pair that food source with. Perhaps You can pair it with a fresh salad or canned green beans. Have an apple on the side or some canned peaches. Think to yourself, how can I add to this one food source I really, really enjoy by making it a little bit more healthy? Think about what you can add to that food. Next slide, please. So make a plan to eating healthy. I think sometimes this is easier said than done, but really kind of sitting down and planning out what you're going to eat and when you're going to eat it can really set you up for success. So making a plan to eat healthy can, one, keep you healthy and help keep you active for a little bit longer. It is important to try your best to plan meals and snacks ahead. And again, if that's overwhelming, start with your very next meal or your very next snack. And then you can build into what you're going to eat tomorrow. And then perhaps planning through what you could eat for the whole week. See what works for you and what you can integrate into your lifestyle. We want you to commit to small goals that you can maintain, and then you can build into some bigger goals shortly thereafter. Consuming healthy meals and snacks, I think, is usually a little bit easier to do when you try your best to plan ahead. So these are some tips you might want to use as you start to make a plan to eat healthy. So cooking ahead and freezing food to eat on days when you don't want to cook. If you have family or friends that want to make you meals, ask them to freeze them for you. Have them freeze them in individual portions so you can easily take something out of the freezer, thaw it, eat it, and you're good to go. If you like to cook, think about cooking in bigger batches and then dividing that up and freezing it, and then you can kind of eat it whenever you want. For most frozen foods, even things you prepare at home, let's say a large soup you make, they're going to stay good in the freezer anywhere from 3 to 6 months, perhaps even longer, depending on the type of freezer you have. So that can really save you time and also serve as a good source of healthy foods that you've made a month ago. Try to keep low sodium versions of frozen or canned vegetables and beans on hand. These can be really good healthy meal add-ons. They can also in themselves kind of serve as a side or perhaps a larger part of your meal. We do want to focus on trying to choose that low sodium version. That means lower in salt, so we're not intaking too much salt into our diets. I often tell people, even if you can try to rinse your canned items off when you open the can, rinse them out in a colander strainer in the sink. They can help to remove even some more sodium or table salt. And same thing for beans. If you give them a quick rinse off, that can also help to decrease any kind of gas they may cause after you eat them. Same thing goes for using dried beans. Letting them soak and then giving them a good rinse can kind of help cut down on any kind of GI upset thereafter. Another tip that may help is keep frozen or packed in juice canned fruits ready for snacks and for meals. Increasing the amount of veggies and fruits you eat every day is only going to be a benefit to you. Keeping them frozen, they do last longer. Obviously, canned fruits are just as healthy too, but we do want to focus on fruits that are either canned in their natural juice or try your best to pick up canned fruits that are packed in light syrup. If you see it with a label that says the heavy syrup, that's a lot of sugar added to the fruit. While you'll still get some nutrients from the fruit itself, you're getting a lot of sugar and a lot of extra calories from that. So try to choose fruits that are either, if they're canned, they're packed in their own juice or in a lighter syrup. You can always choose frozen, and again, you have your option for fresh fruits as well. If you're really planning ahead, and perhaps during the current pandemic, you're trying not to go to the store as often, frozen and canned can be just as healthy as fresh. So it might benefit you to kind of stock up your pantry, add a couple more staples into your cabinet, just so you can make a better plan to eat healthy. And then finally, if you live with a loved one or you have close friends or family members, Try to share meals with someone whose company you enjoy. There's a lot of different reasons for that, but we talked about it already. Sharing a meal and sharing conversation while you eat can kind of help you slow down and eat slower and help you identify when you're full sooner. It's also a great opportunity to just socialize and connect with others. And I know during the current crisis that we're in, that can be a little tricky. So perhaps if you can virtually connect with someone or connect over the telephone or eat a meal social distance, you think about doing that as well. Next slide, please. Okay, and then finally, ask for help. There's a lot of healthcare professionals that can help you determine the best nutrition plan for you. So how much food and how much beverages you should consume each day does vary greatly. It's based on your weight, your gender, your age, how active you are. It also is based on any chronic health conditions you have, and even what your overall goals are. So ensuring a healthy diet that meets your nutrition needs is really important. And I would recommend that you talk with your healthcare professional about your nutrition needs and your lifestyle habits. A lot of our healthcare providers, our doctors, our physicians, they are really good about asking you about what you're eating. But don't be nervous or apprehensive to raise that question to them, because they are well suited to help provide recommendations. And they may even refer you to meet with a registered dietitian nutritionist. And a dietitian can really help you design an eating plan that meets your needs and keeps you healthy. And not just saying this because I'm a dietitian, but we are trained to be able to work very individually with each person to tailor a nutrition, kind of a nutrition model, a nutrition plan that works the best for you. So it incorporates foods you like. It takes into consideration what you are comfortable preparing or cooking, and can also take into consideration any kind of new foods you want to try, or any chronic conditions you have. So I do encourage you to see if your doctor can help connect you with a dietitian. And see if we go to the next slide. I'm going to share some resources. Okay, and then there are some really great resources available online. The Academy in Nutrition and Dietetics, as well as Choose My Plate, offers a lot of different topics and education about healthy eating. And we went over the Choose My Plate, and that's a really good foundation to kind of start on. And if you're going to continue on and do the activity that's associated with this presentation today, I will point you to choosemyplate.gov, and you'll find a really great amount of resources to help plan your next meal. And they also have a lot of good tips for shopping, recipe building, all of that good stuff. And then the National Institute on Aging and the National Council on Aging offer additional topics and education that provide reference to eating healthy. They also have great material, great resources on physical activity and falls prevention. Next slide, please. So I want to pause there. I know we kind of ran through a lot of different things, and see if there's any additional questions that came in. Or at this time, if anyone on the call, on the webinar today has questions, please send those through the question box.
Yeah, Carmen, we don't have any questions yet, but if you have any questions, feel free to type them here, or if you think of something after the webinar, feel free to share them and we'll be sure to follow up.
Great, thank you. So that includes, I'll pass it back over to Tia, but that concludes my presentation today. But like Tia said, if you have questions, please submit them. And you can find more information by referencing any of the resources I provided, or even by going to our Study You page. So Tia, I will pass it back over to you.
Thanks, Carmen. As you were talking, we did have one question come in.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we have one of our attendees who is interested in knowing where they can find, where's the best place to find health-specific diet information.
Great question. So looking at some of those resources that we listed, and we'll make this presentation available online, I would definitely go to check those out for very specific information tailored to either a chronic condition, a medicine you would really want to work closely with your physician on, or whoever you're seeing for your primary care, and they can help connect you with a dietitian. Dietitian services are covered through insurance plans, and you can meet with a dietitian for a consult. They'll learn a little bit more about you and be able to provide a meal plan that's really targeted to what you individually need. So I would always point you to a dietitian, and then feel free to check out some of those resources that we linked to in the presentation today.
And one more question, Carmen. We have another attendee who was interested in knowing if you had any guidance about where to find specific meal plans or meal ideas.
Sure. So that's a great question. The choosemyplate.gov does have some tips and some recipes. Also, I would always advocate for a website called Celebrate Your Plate. They are a wonderful resource for different seasonal recipes. They have great recipes, great pictures of what the food looks like, and they do update it frequently. It is an Ohio initiative, so a lot of the seasonal recipes you'll see is based off of produce that's grown right here in Ohio, so things you could get at perhaps the local farmer's market, or even some things that tend to be less expensive in the store because they are in season. So I would recommend that. That's a great resource. Celebrate Your Plate.
Okay, it looks like those are all the questions that we have for right now. So I would like to thank Carmen for joining us this afternoon and sharing this really important information with us. I hope you all got some good information from her and will be able to use some of these resources and move on to big step number 8, which will be to complete a personal meal plan. So in addition to some of the resources that Carmen shared with us this afternoon, we also have some other links on the Study You page under big step number 8 that has a couple of sample meal plans for, I think it's a 2-week sample meal plan, and then also a sample grocery list. And so I believe that those came from some of the links that Carmen referenced here. So be sure that you check that out, and you can start that journey of creating your own meal plan so you can begin eating healthy. Please note that the webinar was recorded, and we will have this up on our StudyU website here soon. So if you missed any portion of it, or if this is something that you think would be great to share with someone who wasn't able to join us this afternoon, be sure to check back tomorrow, and the link for today's presentation will be there in addition to the PowerPoint slides that Carmen used. So we hope that you'll be able to join us tomorrow for big step number 9, which we will be hearing from Kristen Sabata and Kelly Crustos from the Ohio Northern University, where they'll be talking to us about medication in falls. And so hopefully you will be able to join us for that. That will be our last webinar for Falls Prevention Awareness Week. So we look forward to having you all. Please be sure to visit the StudyU website to register for that, and also to access more information and resources to help you to prevent falls. So again, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Carmen, for sharing with us this afternoon, and we look forward to chatting with you all tomorrow. Thank you.